everybody. Welcome back. It's Cape Rugby TV time. Time for us to take a look at what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. It's been an incredible weekend, but before we get there, firstly, big thanks, of course, to our partners on board with us, Score Energy Drinks. We'll talk to you a little bit later about how you can win yourself a case of Score. Of course, the Score Western Province Club Rugby Sevens is coming up soon. You see Score behind me there. And, of course, CyberSmart Internet Service Providers, also on board with Cape Rugby TV. We'll talk to you a little bit later about how you can sign up for your internet services as you need. Right, folks, the last couple of weeks has been nothing but nail-biting, to say the least. So we've got some amazing guests in studio with us, starting off with the chairperson of Villages Rugby Football Club, Anton Klusner. Anton, nice to have you back.
Nice to be back. Late in the year that I get an invite back, but you will take it, I guess.
Well, we were waiting for us to see how you're going to do.
Oh, well.
And he's doing it with a big smile.
Yeah, and Fani Wenzel, Fani, the secretary of Watsonia, no stranger to Western Province Rugby. Yeah. Everybody knows you. Fani, welcome.
Thank you. Nice being here.
Wow, and Watsonia has had a pretty good season.
Well, good season is an understatement.
Yeah.
We had a tremendous season. And, you know, after a very, very long time, actually we can now say we are starting to achieve what we were working
through that a little bit, because we spoke to the guys from Watsonia last year, and already Watsonia was getting a momentum.
Yeah.
A couple of clubs were getting momentum. Not all the clubs managed to do it again in the second year.
Yes.
So the momentum then from last year, it's quite an achievement to do it this year again.
Yep.
Talk us a little bit about that progress.
Okay, at the end of last year, we sat down and we looked at what we're doing and where we need help and where we need to improve our squad.
Yeah.
And I must take my hat off for my president. He said, this is what we're going to do and this is where we're going to go. Firstly, he appointed a new coach. And the coach said, get that one and that one and that one, and this is how we assembled our squad. And thank God, that squad has gone unbeaten for a whole season.
So a lot of coaching involved.
Yeah, a lot of coaching.
All right. And a lot of behind-the-scenes admin.
Well, you know that, of course.
Anton, talk to me a little bit about coaching on your side. You guys had a couple of I would almost say imports, but some of the guys are old regulars. Anton Moorman, we saw him pop up at City Park.
Yep.
Nice to have Mullies back there with you.
Yeah, look, we've got a symbiotic relationship with UXI.
Yeah.
So their academy runs through our club, which is great for us because we obviously get first dibs at all these youngsters coming through from the academy, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And it was good for our business model. And then Anton said, look, he wants to get more involved again in coaching as well. So he's been quite insanely valuable for the last 2 years with our club. I mean, I think we were finished 5th, last year, the brand new squad, and now we've gone all the way. Yeah. And, you know, that sort of IP, I mean, I've got to give kudos to Andy Coetzee, Andy Norman, SP Blakely. They stood, I mean, SP especially was with us when we had nothing. Yeah. You know, and then Andy was there as well, and then came and left, and then, you know, and they were all players.
Ben?
And Ben, no, we'll get to Ben.
We'll get to
Ben. We'll get to Ben. But, okay. You know, and then obviously Thomas Henry, our manager, they've instilled a culture, you know, which obviously our committees allowed them to allow these guys to allow players to be the individuals they are. We are like my job is to handle the human aspect of this thing, which is a hell of a job. My goodness gracious, to manage 200 young players. And I felt like a father for the last 2 years, but I mean, it's been quite an experience. Yeah. But the great thing is that Andy said to me, culture is so important in this club. Yeah. People need to know when they come here, we do things differently. You know.
But I must say that I don't know, Fani, if you'll agree with me, but there's clearly a difference in the gees at the club compared to where it was 5 years ago.
Of course.
Well, yeah. Well, it has to be. There has to be. Last year it was more of the 2 years before I came, we had somebody who basically bought a side and ran it like it was his, you know, like it was his own club. So, you know, and then your culture disappears. Yeah. You know, but we had no choice. We were in that purview of, okay, we're going down again, because I mean, I think we took 100 points by Marty's or 90 points by Marty's, you know, until that regime came in. And then once it left, we knew that the club was barren of culture.
So talk to me a little bit, Fani, when you guys are looking at from a Watsonia perspective, and you're watching Villages, Hamiltons, two of the oldest clubs in the country, and I don't know if you were at City Park on the weekend, but looking at it from a general Western Province point of view, we have to say that that the standard of rugby is just getting stronger and stronger every year.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, I travel a lot, right? And I go watch various rugby, and every day I still say, Bollard and the other unions, right? Like you said earlier, Western Province is the benchmark of club rugby. The way we play rugby is different. I can still remember about 3-4 years ago, I went to go watch Worcester Villages play that game, also a Gold Cup match against Durbanville.
Okay.
And they got whacked 60, and that was a champion team.
Yeah.
So our rugby and in Western Province is much stronger than there, and this is what each club should strive for. To be there in the top Super League.
So one of the things that we noticed again this year was these derbies. I mean, Hamilton's Villages derbies was just on and off, on and off. I mean, there were a couple of clubs that were playing derbies. And do you feel, I mean, Anton, do you feel like you guys are, that forces you or chases you to get to the next level?
Look, I mean, I want to go back to Ben Fenton before I get to the next level. So, you know, when we, you know, the one thing about Ben, you know, when we heard that Ben was looking around, you know, Andy, Moose, all of them said to me, and SB said to me, look, the one thing we've got a bunch of polished forwards, but we need a blunt object. Okay. You know, the complete opposite of what we needed. And, you know, Ben has brought that grit and that massive amount of grunt that we needed from our forwards, that aggression that we needed. And coming with him came with 3 amazing players as well, which were all to him from Unimall. So, you know, he's added a different dimension to what is a look. I mean, it's you're managing a guy like Ben and Andy. You know, they're all individuals, so they'll have their little loggerheads and have their. But you know, ultimately, when you've got these brilliant individuals that all just come together as one and see the same purpose, then you get a team like that.
Did you think that was going to be the picture when you were I think in January with us?
Look, I knew that we had the talent for it, but I knew that we're missing a little bit of talent. You know, a lot of people in corporates, big corporates, they forget that businesses are not run on red tape; they run on talent. Yeah. And you know, when you get talented people, a whole bunch of talented people into a room that can actually identify and agree together on the same way forward. Yeah. It's only going to be.
Because when we were looking at the beginning of the year, we were thinking, okay, who's going to be the top 8? Who's going to sort of get through here? And Van der Stel was making a noise, and there was a lot of talk about Van der Stel. There were new kids on the block. Hamilton's came out, the normal pedigree that they have. Durbell came out again. We didn't know what was happening with Marties. Marties was out of the league, basically. A lot of other fixtures maybe happening on the side. Left it a little bit too late. And at the same time, we were also looking at Villages and wondering, are they going to settle in? And by the time we got to the end of the league, we had a good picture. Right, there's our top 6. And you could see the difference between the top 6 and the top 8, and then, of course, the lower guys. But did you have, that's my question to you, is when you were sitting here, you must have been thinking, well, this is going to be a tough challenge.
Look, I had the squad. You know, when I said to you in the first time we interviewed, we had a fairly large squad that we planned for. So the thing with this league is that, I mean, you know, I think that's the only way that Hammies fell short a little bit this season is because their squad depth was just not. How Rob and Hein managed their squad depth or what they had, that's maybe why they fell a bit short. But don't get me wrong, they were an outstanding team this year. They really were. They were deserved champions last year.
Well, it looked from the outside, it really did look like you guys were chasing each other. One day it was the one team, then it was the other team. It was Derby in the one week, then Derby in the next week. All right, folks, we're going to take an ad break. When we come back, we're going to carry on taking a look at Watsonia and Villages. We've got some games for you on the cards. We're also going to be talking to the guys from Primrose. If you were there on Saturday, well, let me tell you, Roosa was top of the pops on Saturday. What a day at City Park. But we'll talk to you more about that in a second. Don't go away.